gather water from one bowl that has been sanctified, and we're going to drink it together. So get your water ready at home. Okay? So, yeah, right. So, if you have a drum at home, if you have an instrument, if you've tuned in now, you're probably someone who already understands the power of shamanic drumming. People who drum, who dance, who dream, who make music, who sing the sacred songs, all know that there are certain ways that we can enter into an altered state of consciousness. And in that state, we see things that we would not ordinarily see. We begin to see in the dark. We see in the dreaming. In yogic terms, we move from being what is seen to being the seer. So you can hear the sound of the drum, and if you want, you can close your eyes, because the treasures of our time today, this solstice, in our shamanic healing journey, will be in the dark, with the eyes closed. We're the fertile, mythological, and symbolic beings of this island of Hawaii, and your lineages and my lineages are all dancing together all the time on the night rainbow, on the other side of the veil. So just notice your breath. Focus on your own breath. Feel the rhythm of your breath. That is your connection to the universe and to the rhythm of the drum and the heartbeat of the earth. I hear the sound of the rain. I hear the pulse of the sky. I have the trickling of the waters in the streams of this beautiful island and pouring out waterfalls into the pools and rising up as ocean water from the sea to touch the shoreline. And as we enter into the sacred space of the drumming, we find that the sound of the drumming is articulated by other kinds of sounds. The birds bringing forth the trance. That is the dreaming of nature. So allow yourself to fully inhabit the dream world that begins to appear in the dark. You may find yourself in your sacred garden or a place in nature where you were at an earlier time in your life. You may find yourself walking on a path, feeling the grasses and the moist mud oozing up between your toes as you walk in the dark. with a full moon overhead. And you keep walking and you see in the distance there is a firelight, a bonfire. And it feels very ancient. It feels like this is where we come from, with this fire and our ancient heritage, sitting around the campfire, being transformed and transfigured by the firelight dancing on our skin. But we look down and it's still dark where we are. The moon is casting a light on our feet as we step carefully toward that firelight. And we see, and it gives chills up the spine. It is so amazing. There is every healer that we have ever known there in a circle around the ancient fire. The ancient shaman are there. There's a Rinpoche. The Buddha is there. Jesus Christ is there. Saraswati is there. Lakshmi is there. The healing women of the Middle Eastern traditions, Mirabai, Mary Magdalene, the prophets, Hebrews, Christians, Wiccans, Maya, the Hopi, the Cherokee, the Shinto, the yogis, all standing there holding hands in a circle. And as you come toward the circle, you see your particular lineage. You may see a poet who has inspired you, or a doctor who has helped heal you, or a particular philosopher like Ernest Holmes, who inspired a whole movement that we are all a part of at this New Thought Center. Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist, anyone who has brought light to this journey that sometimes feels very dark, but has reminded us that the light is within. And we come closer, and this circle of healers is holding hands. But two of them step apart and reach their hands out to you. And you walk into the circle, taking their hands, and become one with the circle of healers. And a scintillating light, like lightning and liquid fire, run through your veins as you feel the electrical charge of this amazing, amazing circle of healers under the moon, around the firelight. And you hold their hands and you stand strong. You close your eyes, and with your hands, with your skin, with your heart, you listen to what the circle of healers has to give you. Listen, feel. And you feel so blessed. You can hardly contain yourself, but you feel a great charge, a force for good that's grounding you into the earth. And you know that you are completely needed here on this earth. And with the gravity of your place in this room, in the timeless realm, in the circle of healers, you feel yourself smile so big because there's no longer any question about why you're here. you know. And you look around the circle, and they lift you up in your heart. You feel like you're walking, you're floating on the shoulders of these giants. And you turn around and you look at the path, and you turn around again and look back at the healers, and you bow very deeply and you say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And they are thanking you with equal gratitude. And you turn and you walk along the path, and you come back to your sacred garden or to your body in this room, and feel yourself grounding in the present moment.
Thank you, Marya. Thank you, everyone. Let's all take 3 good cleansing breaths together. Eyes closed. 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everyone. Aloha to you all, to all that are here that we can see on the lanai, and all of those we can't see. But maybe we can feel them. I think they're present. I think there's a lot more people here than we can see. Yeah, that's nice. My name is Leah Sagerblom, and I welcome you all to the summer solstice ceremony. We are live streaming from Lanai. Is this volume, does it sound too high? It sounds okay out there? It doesn't sound too loud? All right. We're live streaming from the Lanai New Thought Center 4 times a year on our special summer solstice, winter solstice, spring equinox, and fall. And today we are honored to have Marya Mann guiding our ceremony. Aren't we blessed? Yes. And to go back to 4 seasons, those of you who don't live here, we do have 4 seasons in Hawaii. Just not quite as extreme. Yes, would you love to bring those beautiful leis? Thank you, Patty.
Thank you so
Gorgeous.
much. Oh, I love you. Thank you so much.
Oh, I got flowers
today. So extra blessed.
Yummy.
Thank you.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Ah,
Oh, if you could only live stream this fragrance.
this is a
Oh.
kind of an orange, yellow, gold tuberose.
It's
not?
puakini kini.
Oh,
Puakini kini. Yeah.
lovely. I'm just.
These beautiful leis. Thank you, Patty, so much. Later, when we all greet each other, we can get extra hugs, and you can all get extra. Extra is wafting anyway, but if you want to get close and personal, I'm available. Okay. Always. Okay. This is one of those special Sundays that we do quarterly. And we'll take care of New Thoughts announcements now, because the ceremony, a celebration of this ceremony is different than our normal every Sunday. So we're going to take care of the announcements now before I introduce Marya officially. And at the same time, we'll be passing the koa bowl, for your contributions. And I know this is highly unusual because the Koa Bowl passing usually goes towards the end of the service. But if you could all be generous, and if you can't put green stuff in the bowl, you can just bless it with lots of love, okay? And obviously the green stuff does help support us here at New Thought Center, which we are blessed to support each other, be here for each other. And I know for myself personally, I love my Sundays here. I've only been on the island 2 years and don't have much ohana left, personally, technically, but the ohana that has grown in my heart with the relationships I've made in 2 years is amazing. And those of you who live here understand that. Pele, I sort of wore this in honor of Pele today. And she's been spouting and showing off, right? And in honor of Pele, in honor of the ceremony of all kinds, Marya's gonna probably touch on that. Okay. Announcements. Oh, we're gonna pass the bowl. If any of you, is it okay if they drum while I pass the bowl, since we don't have other
Yes.
music?
Sure.
If you feel like continuing some music with the drums while the bowl gets passed, that's what. Oh, that's true. You need to hear the announcements. I'm getting too excited. Yeah. Yeah, one quiet moment. Okay. Coming up at New Thought, Sunday services are every Sunday at 10 in person at the center here or by live stream. And for those of you who don't know or aren't available or do not know, the videos on YouTube are available anytime you want to go back and listen and watch from any date. So that's kind of fun to be able to do. We do offer free childcare. We ask for a reservation for that child or children by Friday, please, so we can arrange to have somebody here for the child or children. The next 3 Sundays. Next Sunday is Jill Wagner, How Zen Training Guides My Life and Work. Music by Ola Sangles. Don't miss that one. That's going to be amazing. On 7, can't believe it, July is almost here. On 7/6, Arliss Dudley Cash, Breaking the Sound Barrier of Belief, Going Beyond Limits. Music by Joe Conti. On July 13th, Dr. Stanzi Langtree, Program and Music. She does both, and I think it's she, isn't it, Stanzi? It's a woman, yes? Yes, thank you. I have not met her. And the topic will be announced. She hasn't chosen a title yet. We have weekly classes here on Monday afternoon. Jinan Wong teaches Tai Chi and Qigong for $15. If you come in at 4, you can learn the long form. The rest of the class goes from 4:30 to 5:30 here on the Lanai every Monday afternoon. Monthly events at the end of the month. The last Sunday of the month, we have an end of month potluck. And if some of you haven't experienced that, come on down. It is a lot of fun, lots of fantastic food and communion together, being a community and really connecting. I love that. And that's actually next week, June 29th. Crystal Bowl meditation happens on the second Sunday of every month, and that goes from 9 to 9:30. It's always on the second Sunday. And the next one will be on July 13th. And we do that in the Honua room here. And I just suggest you come early because we've been filling that room up. So if you want a spot close to the bowls, get here earlier. Special events, Sunday afternoon, July 20th. We're having a fundraiser for New Thought. We're having a book sale in combination with the Wesselman estate sale. We need some extra hands. Anybody listening? We have a sign-up sheet, and you can sign up there. We need extra help. I don't know how many on the Lanai knew Dr. Wesselman. I said, show of hands. I did not. So I've heard that he's amazing, and his wife Jill. They both have moved to the other side of dimension, and their 2 daughters are letting go of everything that's in the household. So we have been blessed thrice, fourth, 15 times, I don't know how many times, a lot, with all the wonderful things that they have left that they chose not to keep. So that's going to be an amazing opportunity for all kinds of items. And some of it might be very personal to some of you that knew him. And that's on the 20th, July 20th, yes, here on the Lanai. Doesn't say a time. Do we decide a time, Pasha? The committee is still deciding on the time, everybody, so hold tight, okay? Also, we have a prayer ministry here,
Please.
and every week, anybody that has a prayer, there's a beautiful wood honu box over on the table there. And if you have a prayer for yourself, there's a piece of paper. You can write out what you're requesting. If you have a prayer for someone else, you just need their permission for that prayer. And those of us on the prayer ministry pray on that in our own space at our own time all week long. And I'm telling you, it's powerful. Really, miracles happen. So there we go. And you can also email your request if you aren't physically here. You can email them in. We are always looking for more volunteers. The sign-up sheet is on the round table. We have a sign-up for helping with our event coming up on the 20th of July. But we also have other things. When you walked in today, those of you that are maybe not as familiar with New Thought, because we have a few new faces here, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes before and after service. And there's certainly key people that are here early and leave late. And we're all out of love in our hearts to be of service. And we could always use some extra hands too. So you can just ask us. Thank you. If you sign up in the book here on the table, you can be on our mailing list, and you will get an e-newsletter every week, and that will let you know everything that's going on here. So those are our announcements. Lunch is later. Yeah. Do you want me to ask Marya now? Okay. I'm going to ask Marya now because we take Marya to lunch after the service. What restaurant would you like to go to?
I think the Royal Thai is a good idea. Let's do that.
Oh, darn. Okay. Anybody have an idea for people that are vegan, vegetarian, that's a little more, anybody?
Kona Green Market has great curries. The food truck. It's just
Yeah.
new, and it's very reasonable. Their pumpkins, it's a pumpkin squash curry. It's
Yeah.
just delicious.
That's an option. Does anyone have the only thing about, going to lunch that I said before
Yeah.
is we love to sit with you and talk, and table-wise there's not great seating for people to gather together.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any other thoughts or ideas? Monago, I don't think so. Not.
Maybe it is. iPhone. I'll just
She's
check it
gonna
out.
check.
We probably
She's
should
gonna
have
check.
talked about this, but
We were
it's
busy
good
with
that
it.
we're in the flow.
And then there's also the Ono Kitchen right here, and they do have a variety of menu items. It's real easy. We're right here in the parking lot already, so that's an option too. And that way we can sit together.
Black Rock Pizza has some vegan options.
Okay. Black Rock Pizza is an option. They have vegan pizza. Okay. While she does this, I'm going to introduce her officially. Marya Mann, PhD, is an author, artist, yogini, and creativity mentor who inspires students, clients, and groups through Love Continuum healing movement experiences, energy medicine sessions, and the life-changing transformations at the Lotus Center. She has taught at Regis University in Colorado, the International Yoga Teachers Association in Sydney, the Center for Art and the Future in Bali, and at Hawaii Community Colleges, where she developed the Yoga with Hawaiian Perspectives course. Author of Bali Dream Chronicles and the screenplay Ancient Dances, her work is featured with the Dalai Lama, Deepak Chopra, and Bruce Lipton in the anthology Healing Our Planet, Healing Ourselves. Woo woo! Pretty impressive, right? Founder and director of Pacific Art Waves, Marya works with a committed team of artists, educators, and visionaries to bring nutritious food and fuel for the fuel of the soul to the children and families throughout Hawaii, the U.S., mainland, and beyond. And these beautiful silk flags, and some over there are examples of what they create. The flags are for home and beauty and healing and as gifts for children in conflicted areas like Ukraine. Her dream is to have the U.S. export more peace flags than bombs, and to see garlands of flags line the streets of LA, Gaza, Yemen, and all over the world. That's a beautiful vision. Her teaching, writing, and artwork reflects her love of nature, Polynesian and Indonesian cultures, and sacred movement, while her silk painting, quantum healing, and soul medicine courses reveal her belief that the soul's creativity is mightier than the sword, the pen, or any other of world's problems. I think we here on the Lanai, we would we would all agree with that statement. Right? Create love, not war. Yes. Yes, Pua. Yes. Connecting the dots.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Marya, do you have any announcements for any upcoming classes or events?
No.
Okay. But you have a sign up sheet for.
I do. People can sign up and you'll get on my mailing list. And I'll talk a little bit about why I'm saying no so emphatically in a moment.
Okay. All right. I think that's it. I think we're ready to. I'm handing the mic over to you, and
Okay.
please, we'll all enjoy, I'm sure.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I feel incredibly blessed to see each one of you here, mostly because I know that you're an avid creator of the world that can be. And we're all deeply involved in this dance of what's to come next. Now, I have no idea. I don't know what I'm going to do next. And I think that's okay. I think we tend to not spend enough time really centered in what's going on in here. We're always edging out to the next thing. And I'm totally guilty of that too. But I said no emphatically because just a couple of days ago, I decided I can't add anything new in my life. And I don't even open my email anymore. I've just come to the point where all they're trying to do is sell me something. And I don't have any money. How do I participate in this life? And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to figure out how do we participate in a world, in a nation. I'm going to bring this up right up front. Just yesterday, we bombed Iran with a bomber, a $2 billion vehicle of death that they named the Spirit of Aloha. That's really, you have to laugh. You have to laugh. You have to laugh. You have to say, you know what? Current events could not get any crazier. That's what the Malu Aina Peace Center told me. Yeah. It's totally dissonant, but this in Hawaii is where war is planned and they train. So I mention this in defiance of Ernest Holmes and the New Thought movement, but I think with the warm embrace of Ernest Holmes and our New Thought teachers, because when I first started studying the really medical treatment that prayer work is, I was told you never think about anything negative. It's always you just keep focusing on the positive. If it was, somebody died of cancer, it didn't happen, and you go on. I mean, really, that kind of like what now we're calling a spiritual bypass, because we recognize that really hasn't helped us very much, has it? Because we keep taking negativity and we keep sweeping it under our skirt or under the rug, or we tuck it someplace in the body and we grow a cancer, or we put it over our eyes. And I evaluated this a lot recently because I just went blind. In fact, at some point here, I may put on my dark glasses because I had a very severe reaction to the Vogue, and then found out, this is so strange, the Vogue made my eyelashes attract spider mites. So spider mites started growing in my eyelashes, and I was pouring out with acid tears from the Vogue, and then I have to feed all these spiders and figure out what are they going to do. I mean, what do we do? And so I spent many hours in bed with a coal pack over my head and wondering, I just got this time to work on a book and now I can't. Why do I keep sabotaging myself? And I think that is where we are as a human species. We've been taking what we know in our physical body and saying that's not true, that's not happening, I can't trust my instincts, I can't trust my feelings. And so today we're going to dive into the water of the body so we can deeply feel ourselves. So let's just take a moment now to just close your eyes and let yourself really relax in the chair or the floor, wherever you are. And let's just take a deep breath in through both nostrils. And when you exhale, feel a deep melting in the entire body. Breathing in again, feel the breath clear away the fog around the forehead and around both sides of the brain and down through the back of the neck and the face and the mouth and the back of the mouth and the throat, the root of the tongue. If there's any tension in the root of the tongue, well, everybody just has tension in the root of the tongue, don't we? For the most part. So let's just decide we're going to let that go, and any restraint around speaking or singing or evoking our creative voice is now dispelled because there's nothing to hold back. We know that in every moment the sacred is moving through us, and especially on a day like today, summer solstice or close enough, when the sun is at its height and the earth is so captivated by the sun that the earth actually tilts toward the sun, which causes that sense of the sun standing still, which is solstice. So our entire being as earthlings is bowing toward the sun at this moment and recognize that the source of life, that is the sun, is continually feeding us and nourishing us. And we can feel that in our bones and in our flesh. When we take a deep breath in and let's sigh on the exhale. Beautiful. And let's go again. Take a nice deep breath in. You may want to open your arms like a star. Melting into gravity. And let's pause a moment and let your awareness catch up with the sensation of the body, patient and still and calm. And no matter what is happening in the world, no matter what the difficulty is, we can allow that to be there. We can witness it, but we know in our pillar of light, which is our spine, we are peace. And any part of the being that starts to tense up, or any phrase that starts up in the mind to counteract this truth, we are peace. We don't fight it. We don't push it away. We include it. So, yes, big bombing plane, spirit of aloha, yes. And and yes, craziness all over the place and global warming and blah, 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 and peace. So it's not either or, it's both and. So I feel fear, I feel worry. Okay, I include that because that's part of my wholeness. And sadly, we have a lot of people who feel inadequate and less than whole because of the denial of our pain. And so allowing that we all carry the suffering, we all carry the pain, we all carry the blessing and the burden of being human. And as we accept that, we can be so much more deeply at peace. And we can shut off the computer and forget our email for a couple of days. And we can, turn around and say, I'm just going to take an afternoon nap and listen to some drumming on a tape and take a journey because that's an antidote. And what we're going to do today is we're going to discuss some antidotes to the modern problem. And the modern problem is not just today and not what's happening in the US or Canada or Iran or Gaza. Sending blessings, sending blessings, sending blessings whenever they cross our mind, sending blessings. We can include them. And when we include them, then we have power. Then we have wholeness. Because if we're not including, we're pushing away. And so we're creating a lack. But if we include, it begins to transform. Now, I do a lot of work with intergenerational healing as a matter of survival. I mean, I've started on a couple of books, as many of you know. It's almost a joke at this point. A couple of my memoir titles are one is How I Survived Suicide, and I'm dying to tell you about it. They get better. More recently, I've tried My Life as a Volcano because I'm always erupting and getting hot and bothered and then sizzling down to nothing. We may as well laugh about the tragedy because it's going to be both, isn't it? And so, as we struggle through whatever it is that we're struggling through, what the shaman taught us, what Hank taught us, and Makua taught us. Thank you for being here and honoring these great teachers. Is that if we have a method, we can not drop into the negative polarity. We can hold them. And this idea of including both the tragedy and the comedy is part of what I call the rainbow lineage. The rainbow lineage are those warriors who've come back after many lifetimes as avatars and are saying, give me your worst, give me everything you've got to the universe. And if I can survive it, I will learn like Zen master to master my own fear and to master my own tragedy. In the Gnostic Gospels, Jesus Christ said, learn to suffer and you will no longer need to suffer. So why aren't we diving in? We are now, aren't we? kicking and screaming. We didn't ask, but we did. We didn't, but we did. We wanted to be here for this time. And so, what the shamanic masters have taught us is that when we enter these extraordinary states of consciousness, we can gain power in a place of power known as the sacred garden. Who here knows what the sacred garden is? Please raise your hands. Anybody who doesn't know? Okay, all right, good. Uh, the sacred garden, we'll go here in a minute together, is a timeless space in the imaginal realms that we enter into in order to be able to choose where in the dreaming state we want to travel to. The dream time is a big place. We're very fortunate that it has been kind of mapped. We're still mapping it. It's still new. We're still finding new territory. But there is an extraordinary level of understanding from the Polynesian, Hawaiian tradition that Hank and Makua and many others, Auntie Mahealani, and also my teacher from the Cherokee tradition, Diani Wahu. And I bring this book because I haven't read it yet. And I thought I would read it while we're sitting here. But she's my first teacher. When I was like a little 20-year-old and I heard that I had Cherokee roots, I said, yum, 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 I want some. I want it. What is it? And they were like, we don't know. I mean, my grandmother was offered native land in Texas, and she refused to go down and sign up for it because she didn't want her Baptist friends to know that she was an Injun. My family was so shamed. And I was like, I wanted to uncover what it was. And I feel now, just to bring that story around, my grandmother is thanking me for the context that helps all our lives, because what I began to learn was that the Cherokee tradition, which is from Diani and the Shalagi, which is another word for Cherokee tradition, ancients came from the stars, from the Pleiades 133,000 years ago, just as the ancients from Hawaii came from the Pleiades. Very similar story. But it seems that the Pleiadians landed in Lemuria here, and my blood lineage, I mean, I definitely have an affinity lineage in Hawaii, right? We have an affinity lineage. We don't have to be connected by blood. That's because we just know we're part of their team. They're part of our team. But the ancients from Pleiades came to Atlantis, and they taught chants and dances. And they said, we want you to learn these chants and these dances well. And at a time in the future when your planet is in need of healing, because before that time, you're going to find yourself and these teachings degraded. You'll have to hide, like the kahuna in Hawaii. You'll have to hide your remembrance of the dances. You'll have to hide your drumming and your music making. Some people say that that's how yoga developed. It was shaman who could no longer use the sonic drum because the drum would be heard by people and it was illegal. But if you do yoga, you can do it in a closet. So a lot of us are avatars in a closet, right? So they said, you'll have to hide these chants and these dances, but I want you to practice them in private and remember them well and bring them back at a time in the future when your planet needs deep healing. And I have taught them all over the world, Bali, in Illinois, in Mexico, here. And several things happened that made me stop. I felt insecure about it. I felt that certainly here in Hawaii, everybody likes hula. They don't want to do Cherokee dance. Like, what's the matter with you? Go to Georgia or something. Uh, but they're global. I'll share some of it with you here today. It's global. And it doesn't matter what your dance is. Your dance can be a wave of the hand. If it's done with intention, I can take my hand and I can caress everyone in this room. It doesn't have to be a specific, long, drawn out choreography. Everything that we do, sitting here, I see you moving your finger like that. That's a little dance. Your breathing is a dance. And we're always dancing and interacting. This is what they call the sacred aini, sacred reciprocity. Everything that we do affects the environment and it comes back to affect us. So it's this wonderful infinity symbol. So ceremony involves a couple things that we're going to do right now. We're going to first, I want to do the Holy Communion. All right. So do you want to bring the glasses over? Do you want people to come get a glass? Okay. So I'm going to ask, I'm going to get on the floor here and I'm going to do a Balinese little ritual with some incense. Is it okay if I burn some incense? Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to ask each person to go kind of, one by one, or one person go and get 2 glasses over to Aaron. And we're all going to hold our cup of water and do a little ritual with the water together, a holy water communion. Okay. So when I lived for a short time in Bali and studied their sacred dance, I learned this ritual of the 3 fires. The 3 fires is also in the Cherokee tradition as the wisdom fire. It's also in the Hawaiian tradition as the 3 souls and waking up the 3 souls. So this is universal. I like universal things. I like when things become very simple and I can explain them to a 10-year-old myself. If my 10-year-old can understand, then it's, simple is good. Took me a long time to realize that. I like to complicate things. So whenever the Balinese are starting a ceremony, they do this. And if there's one thing that you come away from today with, it's an understanding that ritual and ceremony is like math. And if we miss any part of it, it's like not knowing your times tables when you're trying to do long division, right? The ceremony is like long division. So if you know the elements, and we've already started, we've sonically and trained ourselves and attuned ourselves to a state of mind and understanding that we're entering into a ordinary state of consciousness in which we can see in the dark. When we see in the invisible realms how much energy is happening and how a state of life exists way beyond what our culture tells us. And so we ask the question, who do you want to be in 10,000 years? That's a good way to start a ceremony. Who do you want to be in 10,000 years? Then you can actually get maybe closer to the intention. The intention of a ceremony is not for a new car. It can be. Or a new house. It can be. Or a mate, but it can be. And those things come true. I've been asking that I would finish a book I was writing for 30 years. That hasn't, I say that hasn't come yet, but it actually has. And I'll tell you about that in a moment, not right now. But the elements of ceremony are to invoke the fire of spirit. So we have the ancient fire ceremony. And this is just one of many. You can have a big bonfire. So in Bali, there's a tradition of lighting the incense And we bring the incense first above the head to the 8th chakra. The 8th chakra centers the aura around the body. And then we bring that light down into the heart for the second level, the heart of compassion. And then we bring it down to the hara and include the earth and the bhutas, the spirits of the earth. And so we've contacted those 3 areas. And then we cleanse our aura. And I'm going to symbolically let this cleanse everyone here. And then we bring that into, and that helps to remind us with the fragrance. It reminds us that we are in sacred space now. We've just entered sacred space. We kind of slipped in there, but we've entered sacred space. So that's one of the elements. That's like learning your times tables. How do you go into sacred space? We can draw on the 4 directions. We can acknowledge the 3 levels of consciousness. We can go inside and say, Om, 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 om. We can drum. We can chant. And that's what I'd like to do now, is chant the Cherokee chant. We're calling in the guardians of the directions. And while we're doing that, I'm going to chant. I'm going to ask you just to listen. I'd like for you to look at your water and send your intention in your water. And by intention, very specifically, I'd like to ask your intention to have something to do with, doesn't have something to do with, what is the superpower that you need to apply yourself today in a loving, creative way? What is the superpower you most want to call in? Ada we yo to you I Hilo himo kalu owi unata kali ileka o seda o seda. Please do that last part with me. O seda. It means it is good. O seda, O seda. So we invite the guardians of the directions, the Adawis, the ancient ones who have lived throughout all time and come from the embryonic light in the stars among the great suns of Hunabku and the other planets and comets and orbiting life that work around our sun and around Hunabku, the center of the galaxy, and that we feel ourselves in the still point in our very own spine, even while all this movement is going on around us. We tune in to just that movement of our spine on the chair or standing, wherever we are, that pillar of light. And let's open our eyes and look at the water in front of us. And if you're at home, have your glass of water. And I don't want you to guzzle it. I want you to we're going to do this in sips. One little sip and just feel the water in your mouth. One little sip. Feel the water in your mouth. Move the water around in the mouth a little bit. Feel the coolness. Taste it. Savor it. Now we are 70% water. And drinking water is like bringing home. I'm going to invite you to feel this next sip so deeply. It's like the last sip you're ever going to have. You're about to die, and you're going to taste the last water ever. Really, really taste it. Really feel it. And let that water come down to the back of the throat and down into the chest, down into the stomach. And notice how gravity draws that water down. Stay with it. Feel the water inside of you. And then let's take another little sip. Just a little. Yeah. And pretty soon you're going to want to take the whole glass because it feels so wonderful. And you're sipping the water, the fluid intelligence of the water, the fluid intelligence of the water that has been prayed into here and before by Aaron and me at home, and by all of the holy people throughout all of time who have ever prayed into water, the people like Emoto, the Japanese scientist, praying into the water, and we're taking that and we're imbibing it so it's touching and spreading out into all the water that we are. And what are we? Water. The ocean that decided to crawl up out of the ocean on bony fins and crawl up on the land. We're creatures. So feel that creaturehood and yourself as water. Very delicately be aware of the movement of water through your body now. So we've drawn in the adawis from the 4 directions. We're honoring the physical body and the fluid intelligence in the body. And you may want to keep your water or place it down now, doesn't matter. But in terms of this creating sacred space and owning our power in the shamanic healing journey, we're going to bring our hands together in prayer, thankful for all that we've done so far, and grateful already for what is to come. That's one of the antidotes to difficulties in life. Have gratitude not only for what happened, but give gratitude for tomorrow. And let's bring these hands down into the lower belly where the first wisdom fire is. And feel behind the hands the breathing, and imagine that there is a flame of light there that perks up. And you feel it. It starts to rise up and it lifts the pelvic floor up, and it sends a light from the earth, the center of the earth, up through your legs, up through the pelvic floor, up into your belly, and up into the solar plexus, which radiates like a great sun. That is the wisdom fire of the will. We have 3 elements we're going to honor here with the wisdom fires: will, compassion, and active intelligence. So honoring your intention here in your lower belly, and this is a good time to set intention for the journey we're about to do. Your personal intention. Our group intention is to find how we can serve the earth. But you have a personal intention, a personal part of that. And then let's bring the hands up into the heart. The wisdom fire of compassion is activated here. And so look inside and feel the flame and see the flame perking up. And see the flame of the hara rising up and touching into the heart flame, inspiring you with the greatest unconditional love you could ever imagine. And then let's bring the hands up into the forehead, the third eye. And you can just touch your fingers on the eminences here. It actually places the hands in a triangle, a great symbol on the forehead. You can accentuate that. This is the third wisdom fire area. So activate the light there, which is the power of active intelligence. So feeling your will in the lower belly, your compassion in the heart, they come together right here in the third eye, and you can actually feel the length between your pelvic floor and the crown of the head lengthen. So you feel a nice, long, lean pillar of light in your core. Breathe it in. Good. And then let's bring the hands on up to your 8th chakra. This is your soul center here. And fluff up your soul star up here. Just fluff it up. Yeah, do you feel that? There's an 8th chakra here. When we die, if that's news, accept it. We're all going to die in physical realm. We're not going to die in light realm. Our luminous bodies go on and on. But at the end of life, our 7 chakras come up here into the 8th chakra, and that's how we move on to our next life with this luminous orb here. But for now, we're just going to turn our hands out and stretch open that light center so that we feel around us a luminous orb that we are cleansing with our fingertips. And then going at your own pace, bring your hands back up through the center, fluff up your 8th chakra, and twist to the left and stretch your fingertips around the big luminous egg around you, front and back, and then bring the hands up and turn to the right side and feel the luminous light of your fingertips touching the luminous warmth of your aura. And then come back up again to this 8th chakra and slide your fingers down, feeling a sense of protection, clarity, and wisdom. And if anything starts to arise in our sacred space or in life that is unworthy of you, here's how you deal with it. You take your fingers, you reach out into your luminous body, you find the time crystal because it's a stuck place, and you throw it away. Time crystal over here. Oh, I was 8. That really hurt. Throw it away. Oh, last week this happened. It was terrible. Pick it out and throw it away. It's really that simple. So before it gets to be a constellation in the body, we deal with it right away, right? So now, in our sense of the ceremony and creating sacred space, I feel that we're ready. We've set our intention. We've drawn in the 4 directions. And the ceremony that I would like to do today, the journey that I would like to do today, is to go to our healing temple. We did one earlier, which was finding our circle of healers, which was really fun. I enjoyed doing that with you. I saw a lot of you in my circle. We start to show up in each other's dreams. It's wonderful, right? So, what I'd like to invite you to do, we're all going to do this. Have an instrument. If you don't have an instrument, you have your voice. And we're going to use the sound field to be the carrier wave of our journey to the healing temple in our sacred garden, okay? So at this moment, find your instrument. And you've set your intention. Our group intention is to invite our life purpose to be apparent within the context of what the earth needs right now. I was with a friend the other day and she was talking about her life purpose changing. And knowing what the life purpose is and then being able to see how the earth needs that right now is a perfect fit. That's where you know things can go very, very smoothly. Things don't always go smoothly in the shamanic realms. We have a ceremony, we set an intention, we move forward, and sometimes we don't get what we want. Or we get what we want and we wish we hadn't. But I was telling you about, this is kind of a joke around here about my writing my book. And I want to share with you that I worry about this a lot because I've been 30 years wanting to finish a book. And I finally got to, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I got on my computer. I started pulling things out and got an editor ready to work with me. And I was going through. This is how spirit works. I was going through and I found 10 books that are ready for editing and publication. I've already written them. I mean, it was already happening, but I didn't think it was. And that's another way that we trick ourselves into thinking that things aren't really going in our direction, but we haven't looked in the right place to see it's already happening. Right. So anyway, yay. I was so happy when I realized that because I've been coming down on myself, beating myself up. You know, why aren't you doing that? And I was doing it the whole time. I just wasn't acknowledging. So for our journey, I want to make music, play your instruments, whatever it is. You can stand up, you can dance. But here's the general idea. Is anybody confused about Sacred Garden still? Think of it as the it's like the Grand Central Station. You go there and decide what train you want to get on, right? So you can go into your sacred garden, and that's going to be very comfortable because it's usually associated with a place that you've known from childhood, a place that if you've been working with your sacred garden, many times you may have a lotus pond there, you may have, steps that lead up to your higher self where she or he sits, and you might have flowers that you've planted and edible plants that you can sit and have dinner if you want, have a cup of tea with an ancestor. I find my sacred garden to be a place that I can go and really feel power. And that's the other word for it. It's a place of power. So once you've done that, then you'll find from your sacred garden, you can ask for a helping spirit to come. The helping spirits are always available for us to receive support, or an ancestor. Here's the key. Always say, are you here for my power, protection, and support? PPS. Hank would always emphasize that. Are you here for my power, protection, and support? Because you don't want any negative spirits. We don't need them. And if they say no, then once again, flick them off. You are infinitely powerful in these realms, and it carries out into our everyday lives also. But in the sacred realms, show your power, show your true colors. And if you don't feel like you have power in those realms, ask for help and you will get it immediately. The spirits and the ancestors want nothing more than to help us. I'm completely convinced of that. And I've seen it again and again and again. So you can ask for a helping spirit to help you to go to your healing temple. I don't know what that's going to look like for you. For me, it's a crystal pyramid that exists in the saddle between Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa. That's the place that I learned a year or two after I first started going there that actually it had these kind of retractable, I don't know, like helicopter blades, and it could uproot itself and move. So I could move my healing temple. So that's kind of the way that the liminal realms, the imaginal realms work. They will surprise us with, I didn't know it could do that. And you're like, oh, gee. And then we'll be drumming. And at a certain point, I'll make my drum really fast like this. And you'll know that's time to come back. Then we'll be quiet for a moment. I'm going to ask you to write down your journey in a notebook or make a couple of notes. Have your notebook handy so that you can make a few notes. And then we will do a closing. And then we will turn off the video. And then we will talk among ourselves to share what happened. Okay? Does that sound about right? Yeah. I'm so excited. Stand, sit, make sound. The crazier the sound, the better it is. The more spirit is usually in there wanting to get through. Joanna Macy talked about being a council of all beings. So you may find in these sacred states that a fish wants to come through. Yes? You're going there to go to your healing temple to find what you find. I mean, you may just want to heal yourself, ask for a helping spirit to heal you, ask for an ancestor that needs healing to be there so you can help out, or ask for an ancestor to come heal you. Right? So there are lots of different opportunities. The intention is the overall intention for us is to find your life purpose and how that fits into the earth evolution purpose right now. That's the overall question. Thank you for asking, Pavlina. And you will find out more on your own. And I want to hear all about it. Okay? Any questions? Great. Let the silence penetrate the core of your being. Feel the wave motion of the breath moving in and out. The wave of the breath turning into an infinity symbol, the lazy 8, moving in and out and connecting all things. So thank you for providing such an exquisite space for my journey. And I want to be sure to remind you to write down if you may forget something and you want to remember. We want to write down our journeys. It helps to bring them from the abstract of the liminal world into this reality. It's like a love letter to our higher self to write out our dreams and our visions and our journeys, what happened. And we're going to share privately, meaning that we're going to say goodbye to our video audience in a moment because I want to give you thank you for being with us, and let's do this again soon. This is great. I really appreciated you being here, and even at home and here, everyone contributed to the ceremony. I can feel it, and that's the sacred Aini. That's already happening, this reciprocity. We are affecting each other. And our fluidity helps us to bypass those spaces that get hard. And I would like to leave you with 2 notes. One is that sometimes it's very hard to move certain parts of our body. Have you noticed? We don't want to know the shoulder hurts. We don't want it. The pelvis, well, we know that business. And when I was in grade school, they taught us this is anatomy: head, shoulders, knees, and toes. You just forget the middle. And we know that this is a sacred and important part. This is the fire of will in the lower belly, the fire of compassion in the heart, and the fire of active intelligence here. So to remember that we can always tune back into these 3 souls or these 3 wisdom fires, they're always available to us. And if we can't quite feel them, fluff up the 8th chakra and let yourself feel the rain of light and wisdom, honoring the sun as we are today. And then the second thing that I'd like to leave you with, something to apply in our everyday lives. I mentioned before that our fear of death is probably responsible for, I don't know, maybe 90% of our problems, a lot. And one of my teachers was telling me about being with a shaman in the Andes, and they were seeing a man through the passage to death. And the shaman was working with them and then finally said, okay, um, it's done. And my friend looked in the bed, and of course, the guy was, stone cold and dead. And they could see his spirit behind his body jumping up and down and just like, wow, this is great. This is great. And the shaman says, now he doesn't get it. He doesn't know he's dead yet, but watch this. And so the shaman says, "You are dead." And the little spirit's jumping up and says, "I can't be dead. I feel better than ever." So just to remember that we're all going one place and it's a good place. And then the second thing is about relationship repair. I feel like if we knew this, we'd have much fewer difficulties. And that is that every relationship has 3 phases. We sparkle, we have conflict, and then we do relationship repair. And then we sparkle again, and then we have conflict, and then we do the relationship repair. And then we get going again on the sparkle, right? So that's a natural relationship. We are going to have conflict. It's just the nature. And it's how creativity happens. Boom, sparks fly, right? So we like creativity. That's great. However, most of us have not been properly taught relationship repair. And so we have these relationships. We probably all have been in them if we're not in them now. And they go sparkle, conflict, time passes. Sparkle, conflict, time passes. Sparkle, conflict, sparkle, conflict, sparkle, conflict. And it's like having a flat tire and going through life in this relationship because you are not doing that third part of making the full circle of relationship repair. But if we do sparkle, conflict, relationship repair, like we're doing today, a ceremony at its heart is relationship repair. We're repairing our relationship with ourselves. We're repairing our relationships with each other and our community. We're bringing the community together and developing cohesive love bonds. We can feel that unconditional love because we've been through the dark together, right? So remember that third facet, relationship repair.